Hello dear viewers, welcome to episode 40 of the Calm Mind Podcast. My name is Birdkeepertoby, and as always I'm joined by the lovely True Green 7. I want to say a thank you for your time and patience here listening to this show, especially if you're a member here on YouTube, if you're listening to this live, or you might be listening to this on demand on Google Podcasts, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're going to be talking about all things Pokemon, but we're also going to be going deep into your mind. That's how we do it, right?
We have a very structured episode today for you guys. All three segments have been curated by yours truly. We have one segment about the culinary masterpieces that we have encountered throughout our lives. Then we will randomly generate a pocket monster. Hopefully it will be a Pokemon that is complementary to the thumbnail. We will find out. Then we will talk about the characters, the visages that we have witnessed throughout our time experiencing media through our corneas. Wait. Cornea. Which part of the eye is the cornea?
That's good. Yes,
that's correct. Okay.
Ronald.
And then dabbled throughout like a light sauce on top of a risotto. We will. You don't put sauce on risotto. We will probably talk about the DLC stuff.
We'll also talk about DLC. Yeah. That's good. I'm saying I ruined that. I was like, and that's the bit done, and you were like, no, Toby, I've got you, brother. And you just committed to the bit. Thank you.
I mean, this is what the Common Podcast should have been. Because then I honestly think we would have gotten more views if we leaned into the gimmick. Because I think the whole problem is that like the episode can be anything. It's just us talking. Really, we don't really. The gimmick isn't really. Should we from now on just talk in this
really like low toned and relaxing way? Do you think people would like that, or do you think they would want to punch us in the face? But maybe that's the point, Ronald.
It will actually be funnier because then it'll make like if we do argue or debate, it'll be like a funny juxtaposition. It'll be a really good exercise in trying to find like synonyms and stuff. On the fly. It's a very good. I'm actually better at improv when I'm doing a character. Like if I was just acting like me, that improvised bit would have been. No,
I feel that. I get that when you find a rhythm and a character to jump into.
Yeah,
that was kind of fun. Maybe I should do it. Maybe that's a D&D character. That's just something I always struggle with is finding voices for characters for D&D.
Really?
And but actually right there, just immediately, instinctively, like a character who's just a little bit more sort of gentle and speaks slowly and maybe has a stiff upper lip.
Are you able to do any voices that you try to do?
I have this
or any
brutish voice for the character I'm playing currently. He is a lionin, as in a lion man. And he's, it's the brute
Sounds
from
like one.
Halo or the... any such bestial character.
That does seem like a voice that you default to sometimes.
I was doing...
Very dramatic.
I was doing a character before, and what really put me off was the voice. I just couldn't settle on a voice. So he, for the longest... he was Ethan Winter. He was the sort of very posh character, and he was big and had a way about him, and I couldn't commit to the voice properly. So he sort of later it became part of the story was that he was putting on a voice, and instead he became a sort of farmer, and he was from the West Country here in England where we all drove tractors.
Okay, you switched. It's funny how some Americans just don't know that there are many British accents, but you can see the juxtaposition when you just switched mid sentence to a different accent.
Yeah,
it's very cool.
Yeah,
I usually default if I'm gonna do a voice for a character in D&D or something. It's I don't know, some guy is very sneaky.
He sounds like a sneaky kind of guy. Yeah,
like a snake guy. What's up, everybody? Just sneaking around, just being a sneaky snake.
Actually, he sounds to me a little downtrodden. He sounds like he's had a rough day at sneaking work, and he's he's you can empathize with him. He goes home to an ungrateful partner, to a kid that he can't afford to keep raising. He's struggling.
Deep down, he's a pretty cool guy, but
times have been tough.
The world does not.
Yeah, I feel that. I was watching, what's it? Critical Role, I suppose. Yeah, no, Dimension 20. I was watching Dimension 20. And there's this sort of big pirate character, and I really want to do a big pirate voice at some point.
That was really good.
He's got this real gumption about him, and I want to do a character like that, because I think it would be brilliant. But I would just feel like stealing, even though it's like the most generic pirate voice there is.
What? Stealing a pirate voice? Who copyrighted pirate voice?
Captain Greybeard of the... I mean, that's again the most generic name I could think of. Captain Greybeard of the Sea Shanty, which is the name of the ship where they have sea shanties, but no more sea shanties were on any other ship than there were on the sea shanty, hence. What are we're talking about food? No, we're going to talk about the DLC, right?
Yes, we should talk about that first.
We'll be setting sail to the land of Kitsukame? Is that right? Did I say that right? I don't know.
I don't remember it. If I read it, I would know.
There's like a Japanese-inspired sub-region for the first DLC for the Teal Moss, which is pretty cool, I think.
When I reacted, I'm like, wow, finally, like a Japanese countryside location. And then everybody's like, yeah, but we already have a bunch of Japanese regions. That's not what I mean. I mean like open world style Japanese modern countryside, not like Hoenn remake. I'm talking about like it feels like way more immersive, not like Pokemon style.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
Like, so that would be really cool because I've always just wanted to have a open world, like almost like Yokai Watch style location in Pokemon. That in an open world Pokemon, because I guess all the open world that we have is Spain and then old Japan. I want modern Japan.
Yeah, actually that's true. I think that's very true. I guess they've not had the opportunity to create that yet. How did you feel looking at the kind of the mons and the just generally like the DLC in 2 parts, all that jazz?
Big fan of Ogidogi.
Yeah.
The bird's pretty. I think everybody nobody hates the bird.
No, sure.
And I'm definitely not a hater of the monkey. People have overreacted to the monkey, I think. People hated the monkey.
Do you know what? I've been so busy, I don't think I know anyone's take on these Pokemon. This is the first time I'm hearing somebody else's opinion on these Pokemon. I thought they were cool enough. I didn't think bad. I didn't think amazing. I just went, they look cool.
I'm okay with I'd say the monkey's like a 6 out of 10, bird's like a 7 out of 10, dog's like an 8 out of 10 for me. And then the little ogre kid, I like those kind of mythicals. He's green. I love the colors of him. I like the concept, and we'll see what the face looks like. I think if I see the face, it'll jump a point.
So, are we working under the assumption that these are all probably part dark type?
I want them to be, but they're supposed to be heroes, but they're probably like tricky heroes. Like they do some tricks.
Because my thinking is that and it's frustrating, obviously, because Japan and China are not the same thing. But the Ruinous Quartet are all part dark type legendaries from a mysterious eastern region that we are just we've literally just had them in Paldea, and now we've got this DLC where we're going to this place where it looks like there's a bunch of dark type Pokemon, and I'm like, I know one's more Chinese in origin, but one's Chinese in origin and one's Japanese, but they're all of these dark type Pokemon and the Eastern influences.
I don't think this is where the Ruinous Quartet is from. I don't think so at all. But it could be, but I don't think it. No, it can't. This is explicitly Japanese, and they're explicitly Chinese.
Do you not think Pokemon would mix like that in terms of the legendaries?
They could, but then why didn't they just make them Japanese? Like they could have. But I think instead of dark type, maybe they're all fighting type, and then only Ogidogi is like dark fighting.
I could see that. The coloration...
Flying fighting, psychic fighting.
The coloration of them, to me, and the fact that they're in a set of 3 sort of suggests that they are this region's equivalent of starters, even if they're legendary. They're like, Poipole is the starter for But then I suppose Poipole's poison, dragon, and that so, I don't know. Maybe not. It's just, one's green, one's blue, and one's orange. Do you know what I mean? And it's it feels a little bit... Is this a starter thing?
The primary colors, that is just normal. I think it's more crimson than orange.
Sure, but then to have all 3 of them as well, as part of a trio, and they're all quite ordinary-ish creatures. At least a dog, a bird, and a monkey, and like.
Well, they're based on the Momotaro
story. Yeah.
Story, and they're basically the sidekicks of Momotaro. So it's like, I guess because they're just these myths that Japanese people know about, and then you apply, primary colors to them. It's just like these are our representation of them, and
I think the teal mask is like, because it's got all the crystals in it. I think it's like it stole the power of terastallizing from Paldea and brought it like abroad to this region, and it's causing issues. That's what I think is happening. That would be my pretty much only guess for the story.
How do you steal that?
The power of
How do you steal?
If you're a legendary Pokemon, they've all got different sort of powers and ways of doing stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting these vibes of like this ogre is actually not bad guy, and you befriend him, and he's actually a pretty cool guy, and he's not going to be dark type, he's going to be fairy type, like grass fairy. Because we can't have another grass dark, revealed mythical or whatever.
Or
it's not
can't
mythical,
we?
We can easily 100% have. I mean, we have also already
I suspect
Wo-Chien,
it'll have two. There's the image of it that's on the like the wooden board looks a little bit different to how it looks in its model. They look slightly different. I wonder if it's got like a natural form without the mask, and then it's got like when it puts the mask on, it transforms into something a little bit more ogreish and
that would be cool.
Oni-ish, I suppose. But that would be my thing. I mean, what do you make of the turtle?
Oh, I love the turtle. Turtle, I always like Pokemon that are beautiful and also like not menacing, but like you can tell that they're important and like aren't just a beautiful Pokemon and pretty. And I like imposing and beautiful Pokemon at the same time.
Yeah. Can I give you my cool bit of lore that they this is one of those quintessential Toby theory things where no one at Game Freak ever had this conversation, but it also makes like a weird amount of sense.
No, so food. I like my favorite food is.
No, it's fine. I'll tell you what. I did talk about it in my latest video, so people can just go and watch that. Let's talk about food.
Yeah, actually do that.
That was a cheap plug.
Do you actually prefer that?
Go watch my latest video. It's like the last minute. But wait till you're done listening to the podcast, because we're having a good time here.
I mean, if you're doing that, I might as well plug my latest video too. It didn't do as well as I wanted to.
We're talking about food. Don't do that. Plugs only work if they're organic. If you're going to start like just plugging any old thing, that's just awful.
It is odd that we're taking a field trip all the way to Japan. But yeah. I always love the whole trope of like field trip and the idea of like, which teachers go along with the field trip,
Yeah.
As chaperones. So it'll be so cool to be like, it's going to be Dendra and Miriam.
And then we can go on a date with Miss Ryfort like for the second one. Yeah.
Yeah. Ryfort's going to be like very protective. He's like, don't move, don't go too far.
Like, don't worry, Miss Ryfort.
Like, oh my God.
We'll hang out. It's cool.
Oh wait, not Ryfort. Ryfort, she's not going to care. I was thinking of, what's his name? What's the buff guy?
Oh, I know who you mean. I don't know his name. I can't remember his name.
But the buff guy, he's going to be protected.
We can go on a date with both of them.
If he can. The Ryfort, she's going to be like teaching us about the history of everything that's going on. And Dendra's going to be like, let's go battle here in this battlefield. And then Miriam's the one patching up everybody who's getting hurt.
And then we'll go out to
Santiago.
Go out to dinner.
Saguaro. That's the guy. Saguaro.
Take Ryfort out for dinner somewhere nice.
That is 100% not happening. Miriam, though, perhaps.
Yeah.
We should
talk about dinner. Yeah,
Toby?
we should talk about dinners and was there a cuisine when you came over to the UK that you were like, because was there anything you tried here that you were like, I have to try that while I'm in the UK? It's an English thing. I can't remember.
Like kind of all the things that you can think of, relative, like the big three I tried. What was the big three? What's the big three of
the
British
full
cuisine?
English breakfast? Definitely tried that, right? I think we did that.
Yeah. I was right in front of you.
Yeah.
Like right across from you.
This was many moons ago.
Table.
What are the other two big fish and chips and a roast, a Sunday roast?
We
did
do
those. Do you have a favorite?
From those three, English breakfast honestly was perfect.
Yeah.
Not perfect, but like I get it's underrated, and I get why people like it.
Well, and genuinely been ages since I've had a full English breakfast now. Probably last time I was with you, genuinely. But,
Really? Cool. It's just, I love beans. And beans on toast. I mean, beans with eggs. Oh my God.
Beans, that's a meme.
She made beans. I mean, there's some beans in my list. We're going to talk, I made a whole list of food, like comfort food that everybody would know that is my favorite, but then a lot of like let's say Middle Eastern Jewish food that you guys don't know, or food from around the world that you may have not tried. But fish and chips, like authentic fish and chips, delicious, but so heavy. At least for a person who's not used to eating a lot of fried food, so heavy.
No, I agree with that.
And then the Sunday roast. Sunday roast was like a Thanksgiving dinner. Honestly, I prefer Thanksgiving dinner, but like because I love stuffing, and there was no stuffing in there.
You should traditionally stuffing is more like the Christmas Sunday roast or whatever.
Got it. But then chicken tikka masala is probably also like big four. At least it's like, yeah, everybody talks about it there. Like every restaurant.
Yeah, did it surprise you that it's like everywhere in the UK is like curry? I mean, I guess you would have known, but like
it didn't surprise because I knew about this. But like, yeah, that is probably the number one surprising cuisine that for like a person who doesn't know about British cuisine. How do you rate sushi? We'll talk about food in general, famous foods, and you guys, everybody in the chat will also probably get a chance to like learn our opinion on whatever your favorite food is. But let me go to my list. You want me to start off with a food that you guys know of, or a food that you guys don't know of?
Food we don't know of, right? Because then I would be really impressed if I know it.
There's basically the Middle Eastern version of like a tiny calzone or a hot pocket. It's not really a hot pocket. Sambusek. Okay. It's actually, you know the word samosa? You know what a samosa is? So it's basically, the word samosa actually comes from sambusek. So sambuseks predate samosas. So I assume sambusek also maybe predates empanadas. So think of an empanada. I don't know what an empanada is. It's literally just a Middle Eastern. Okay, so that's what's funny. So this is actually a common thing that Americans forget. British people are not as much familiar with like Mexican food as Americans. Like Mexican food is like everybody knows every single and how to pronounce it. Even,
yeah, no, this is true. I don't know. I know obviously like burritos, enchiladas, and tacos, and realistically, I don't know. It's not a common thing over here, I guess.
Yeah, Spanish is underratedly a big part of American, not dialect, but like
I mean that makes sense.
Lingo, perhaps. So it's also remember we talked about how like British people tend to Anglicanize other words from different languages, while Americans at least try to somewhat pronounce it, even if it's wrong. There's a whole video I sent you. I don't know if you watched it, but make sure you check it out, which about the reason why. Which again, it makes sense. America, it's full of immigrants, so it's like, but we'll always default to like Spanish. Like even when like let's say you're trying to pronounce an American who's not familiar with like let's say Japanese, will try to pronounce a Japanese word, he'll probably give it like a Spanish accent for no reason.
Interesting.
Like whenever you're trying to like pronounce any language, for some reason an American will by mistake like read it as if they're reading Spanish, because that's the foreign language that they're most familiar with. But whatever. So my point is, an empanada is basically just like a tiny calzone with beef or whatever you want. But it's interesting that
you're saying calzone, because when I think of a calzone, when I think of a calzone, which I'm convinced is pronounced calzone because they're Italian, right? But
calzone.
When you're saying calzone and a samosa, I think of them as two different things, very far apart things.
They're stuffed
pastry
bread. Not bread,
yeah.
Pastry. And yes, I'm aware that the empanadas aren't literally Mexican. They're Latin American, South American, perhaps. But like, I mean, the country that's closest to America that will bring empanadas is Mexico. Okay. So like, in any Mexican restaurant, you will find empanadas. But the point is that like Spanish food in general, Spanish or Latin food, because it's not literally from Spain. Empanadas, I assume, but what did you just say? So yeah, samosas are, I guess, way tinier than a calzone, for example.
That's the key difference, I guess, that I would think of.
My point is that sambusek, which is a Middle Eastern empanada, let's say, which is like a mini calzone, samosas, like, that's the problem, that the closest to a sambusek would be an empanada, but you don't know what an empanada is, so I had to say mini calzone, basically.
That makes sense.
They're all completely different. Each one is completely different. But, like, for example, how, a ravioli is technically a dumpling,
Right, okay, sure.
But that's the closest I can say to a ravioli.
We definitely have this kind of thing. Like, you can get this kind of thing. It's not a common part of my diet at all. No. It's not something I would really think about.
It's Middle Eastern, so like it's not even common in America. But as a Middle Eastern Jew, so yeah, sambusik or sambusak or sambusa. It's every country in the Middle East has a different like. For a lot of Middle Eastern food, they have a different name for it.
The pastry looks closer to like is it phyllo pastry? Is that the right thing?
It's not phyllo. That would be more close to another food that we were going to talk about. It's more like, it's honestly really more close to an empanada, but the problem is you don't know what an empanada is. I'd say it's closer to, I guess the next close would be a calzone, really.
Okay.
It's not calzone. Calzone is like pizza dough, but like but the closest would be pizza dough. You can make sambusak from pizza dough.
I'm looking up an empanada. They
still
look
be considered
amazing.
Yeah. So sambusak, I literally had one right now. I literally had one for lunch. It's like every other Friday, maybe my mom will make. It's not like it's the best thing ever. It's literally just like I said, an empanada or a calzone or samosa. It's my version, my family's version of that, and I think those are underrated. I love just tiny finger food that has everything inside of it, and it's not too messy, and you can just put it in your finger, put it in your mouth. Love those kind of stuff.
Nice.
And that's my point. And you should always, whatever country you live in, those should be a thing that you're eating regularly because they're so easy to eat.
This is going to make me so hungry. I know, obviously, but for those of you listening, I'm back on my keto diet, and the variety of things I can eat is so limited that, like, we're talking about pastry, and I'm just like, I'm getting so, like, I'm salivating. You're going to hear me on the podcast, like, because I'm like so hungry for like something like that. It looks so good.
Did I eat a pasty in?
You probably
in England. Like it was in front of you. Like,
you had a Cornish pasty. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like when we were with Luke. Like Luke was like, "I gotta try this."
Yeah. That sounds about right.
And it was delicious. I think that is the closest to like an empanada.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
They taste really similar.
That makes sense. Do you know this? There's this critical piece of British culture, which is a clip from the morning show. I think it's from the morning show, or one of our morning like news shows, which is the famous Italian chef.
I love
my
him.
grandmother had wheels, she'd have been a bike. It's nothing like a carbonara.
And everybody's like, "Oh, I've seen that clip at least."
It's like a crucial part of like British culture is like that clip.
That good.
And there's a clip of a little girl telling Nigel Farage, who is like the leader of the racist party, saying coming on and like this is on a news show. This little like 5-year-old girl, 6-year-old girl knights him. She's wearing like a queen outfit, and then just live on news says, "My mummy says you hate foreigners," and he goes, no, little girl, you can't say that now. That's naughty. It's like the most amazing clip.
Why is that hilarious?
It's so funny, but it's just like it's in the same vein. It's just like one of those clips that's like a classic part of like British culture.
The one that's making the rounds nowadays that we're just normal men.
We're just innocent men.
That I've seen 100 times within the last week.
God.
Or last month even.
Brilliant.
That is my favorite one.
Yes, that stuff. There's some weird stuff happens on the British television, and I don't. We're just normal men. We're just innocent men.
We're just innocent men.
What do you mean, normal men?
And then I saw. What's the name of the character? But I saw, or like the puppet. I seen like a bunch of clips of it, like a whole compilation, like last week. Still, everything is funny.
I think that character.
Bear.
I had an email from that company, like 5 years ago, asking me to be involved with something for that, and I had no idea who it was, and I was like, you gonna pay me? And they were like, oh, no. And I was like, okay, then don't worry. I totally passed up the opportunity. It could have been me who was a normal man, an innocent man, but no. Not anymore. It might not have even been that character. It was a character. I don't remember who.
Wait, so is BBC Kids a thing?
Yeah, so there's BBC, which is
that's the channel.
British Broadcasting company. And then there's CBBC, which is the kids. Yeah.
CBBS.
And then I think there's like CBBS.
Why C?
For children's British Broadcast, yeah.
Oh, children. I forgot children was a word.
And then CBBS because it's like CBeebies, I guess, on TV. I don't know. But that's for like the toddlers, I guess. I wish there was like another station for like... Oh, wow, that's going to sound so bad. Like when you get older, I don't mean like in a pervy way. I mean like in a once you're more like zoned out and jaded from the world. Like a different news. They should keep on making news stations for different ages, just depending on where you're at emotionally. Like, do you know what I mean? Just like, but like every 10 years you watch a different broadcasting station because you're just at a different point in life.
I'm just trying to figure out why you thought it would sound pervy. What would sound pervy about what you just said?
If you're doing it by age, then I guess the broadcasting thing that's up from that would be like a over 18s only kind of thing. And that's not what I was going for. I was going for like a
18 plus news, but isn't that what the news is right now?
That is just what the news is. But I was going for more like there's the over 18s and then there's like the over 25 news, which is like when you're just like a different, like
when your brain is fully developed and you can handle it.
And then there's like the over 40s news, which is like news for people who's just kind of tired of this.
So when we were on Nickelodeon, at least in America, there was like it was like a monthly news thing. I think it was like with Linda Ellerby. That's like this host where she would just talk about whatever the current topic. It's just like one current topic. Let's say it was 9/11. That month they would talk about 9/11.
That's a very specific month to call out, but yeah, okay.
Because I don't know, I guess that was a special that like you can find online probably.
I guess.
But and it's like her just interviewing kids and how they feel about whatever
special
current
sounds wrong for that, but I understand what you mean. I understand.
The 9/11 special.
Yeah, I'm sure they... So, the sad thing is, in this world, someone didn't read the room, and absolutely they did a special for that, and they didn't think to not call it that. In
Disney Channel, like the bumper, remember we talk about how they have bumpers between the shows, and like with this, like the child actors just talking about something, whatever. So like a year after 9/11, they had a bunch of bumpers with those kids.
What, just talking about how they were doing and feeling and
how 9/11 affected them, but I don't think they actually said 9/11. They would say like what happened in September. Like it's like remember like I mean it's like people during after World War I calling the World War I like the Great War, but not World War I. So like I guess people called 9/11 something a little different. Like a year after, they didn't call it 9/11. They called it, I think. Honestly, they just said September 11th. But then like now you say 9/11 is more popular than September 11th.
I suppose.
But most people said September 11th back then. At least just within that year. After a year, then 9/11 makes sense.
I was definitely too... We have so detoured from food, which we're definitely going to get back to.
From some
I don't know how we
9/11.
got here. This is a weird place for the podcast to be. I was definitely too young at that time to comprehend like what was happening. But my goodness, like you go back now and like watch footage or watch documentaries, and it's just harrowing, absolutely harrowing. At the time, I was a kid, like, and it's news about somewhere a world away, and it's not, doesn't even comprehend really, but like, yeah.
My mom was in Manhattan when it was happening, so she was seeing it in real time. Like, she went to like the top of her building.
Really?
She was working, and
Damn.
Yeah,
I mean that makes sense. You live in New York, like that's hard. I didn't even think. Yeah.
So what is your favorite food, Toby?
Yeah, okay. Let's just find me. Yeah. Okay, so my favorite food? I definitely don't have a favorite food. But what I've noticed, I don't know if I've mentioned lately, I'm on this keto diet. Anyway, I've been writing food like that I crave for when I'm through this diet, because that must be food that I like really, really want. And one of the key things that has come up, and I know there's two reasons that this has come up, but one of the key foods that I just love, that I could sit here and eat forever, macarons. You give me macarons,
Wait, we're talking about macarons, like macarons, not macaroons, right?
Wait, what are the difference between macarons and macaroons?
Okay, just making sure. Macaroons are the coconut.
No, I don't like those.
Macarons.
I don't like coconuts, so...
Oh, you don't like macarons?
I don't really like
coconuts,
so...
Oh, yeah, you're right. But macarons, yeah. Macarons on my list. That's crazy.
Wild. Dude,
macarons on my list.
The idea of macarons are like...
I love macarons.
But the thing is, I don't want 1, I don't want 3, I don't want 6. I want like a dozen in a go, all different flavors.
Okay, that's a little too many macarons, not gonna lie.
They're amazing. It's like the little ones, the little
pretty patties.
I know why. It's because last time I was doing this diet, what broke the diet was me going on holiday to Amsterdam last year, and they have them everywhere. And then actually, also last year, I went on a little road trip to France, and they had what was effectively like a big macaron, so like the size of your hand, but like halfway through. But no, it was great because it was like halfway through it, there was like a circle of raspberries on top of the cream, and then and it was like burgered in, and it was, oh my god, like I am just, wow, it is the thing that when this diet is over, I'm going for.
The texture of a macaron is one of the coolest things in the world. When you bite into it, if you've never tried a macaron, yeah, it's on my list. I would recommend to anybody. It's like one of my favorite pastries.
It's such a weird noise, but I genuinely feel that. It's like, wow.
My dad is like I said, a wedding photographer, and I have to sometimes tag along to be his videographer, or he'll just bring food from weddings home. But regardless, I do eat macarons more than the average person because you can get some from weddings and stuff like that.
I want like a variety as well. Like I don't want 2 of the same one. I want like a box of like 24 completely different. And you can, there are so many flavors you can get with macarons. Like I feel like almost anything can be anything. And like I want just all the best one, but just your classic like raspberry or strawberry, blueberry, any of that is lemon. It's all amazing. And I'm just like, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I doing this to myself? But that is the first thing that when I came on this diet, I was like, once I'm off, I'm going to war with macarons.
I expect macarons aren't as unhealthy as you'd expect. Because it's just, what?
It's light as air.
It's relatively light. It's just like a very thin filling.
It's like a really tiny meringue, right? It's like a...
Yeah, it's a meringue.
Do you have like a snack food like that is so Moorish that you're like, I just can't get enough of this. This is the one.
Snack food, no, but like if we're talking like something similar to a macaron, like a pastry that is also like decadent, Ferrero Rocher. But you're not a hazelnut guy.
This is a blessing for Phoebe because, when I'm not on my... I don't know if I've mentioned, I'm on this keto diet. When I'm not doing that, if there's sweet food in the house, I just go for it. But Ferrero Rocher is the one thing. Every 3 years, I take a bite of one, and every time I go, oh, it's disgusting. But so Phoebe can just have it in the house, and I won't touch it. I won't go near it.
She is lucky, honestly. But 99% of people think Ferrero Rocher is
the
bomb.
People love that. Easy Christmas gift for basically everyone. It's just like buy a box of Ferrero Rocher. It's just easy holiday gift.
It's so hazelnut really is my favorite like flavor for like a pastry or like chocolate or something like that. I love hazelnut. I don't understand what one would not like about hazelnut because it's like such a like inoffensive flavor.
It's an interesting thing because I guess flavor is one of those things that it can't be psychological, right? It has to be physical taste buds.
But it's not an extreme taste. It's literally close to also things that you do like chocolate.
But there is a difference, right? Which is why they're different things.
And when we're talking about hazelnut, we're talking about hazelnut chocolate, basically. We're not talking about pure hazelnut.
Sure.
Like, so it's like, it's just it's chocolate with a hint of hazelnut.
I can, like, just about sort of bare Nutella. Sometimes I think Nutella's nice. Sometimes I'm like, no.
But Nutella is literally Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah, well, but this is, it's like, sometimes I like it and sometimes I don't. But it's like on the fence. And it really is like, I don't know. I wonder if whether what you taste is a psychological thing or like a physical thing. I really don't know. Do you know?
It's based on both, but it's just experience. If you're, it is psychological because, like, for example, if you just taste something that you're not expecting, you're not going to enjoy that, even if it is something that you would enjoy if you just were expecting it.
But you surely you can't convince yourself to like a flavor. Do you think?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't think it's taste buds, is that you're asking. But it is both physical and mental. Whereas like the physical is what's contributing to the mental. Maybe it's like the texture is off, or like physically, maybe it does taste bad.
It might be
it
might be the texture, because like coconut is the other one where in certain conditions I'm fine with coconut, but I couldn't, like, when you've got the coconut shavings involved, really hate it. Really just I don't like it at all. But like, so for example, I cook with coconut oil and that does taste, you can taste it. But like, it's fine. It's in really low quantities. So it's a weird one. I really don't know. But and there's not many foods that I'm like that with. It really is just like the kind of the hazelnuts, the coconuts, walnut. Surprising. I really don't like walnut. Yeah, but most
you like. All right, so here's what I don't understand. Not that I don't understand. It's more like nuts, again, don't have a strong flavor or anything. So I don't understand when you say, I really do not like walnut. Yeah, I'm not a big walnut guy either. But like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean that, like, you don't like
I don't
walnut?
like the flavor of it. I don't like how it tastes in my mouth. I don't know how else to say that. that is like just it. It's the flavor must be stronger for me than it is for you, perhaps. I don't know. Maybe the little receptors in my tongue for that specific sensation are stronger or weaker or more sensitive. I genuinely don't know.
This will probably literally be the last time I bring it up in the podcast, but do you think it's an autistic thing?
It could be. I don't know. Texture is a big deal.
Just being more sensitive to some kind of texture or taste?
It really could be. I have no idea. I don't know. There has to be some... It can't all be psychological, because when you eat like random every flavor beans, you've got, your equal chance of getting like a really nice flavor, and you eat, and like that's all got to be taste, surely. So there must just be some flavors that just people don't get on with. And like, another food I don't like, because people were talking about sushi earlier, is I don't like the green stuff. Wasabi? Yeah, I don't like wasabi. I don't.
Nobody likes wasabi.
But they put it on there, so someone must like it.
The wasabi that you're eating is just horseradish, and nobody likes horseradish,
right?
You're not eating, like, well, I mean, people like horseradish, but like, it's more like that makes sense. But why is your reaction to horseradish the same as Nutella? You know what I'm saying?
Nutella's no. Like Nutella's like sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. Hazelnut is just like, I don't like it. That, like, hazelnut and wasabi, but then wasabi I dislike way more. Like, wasabi is probably like the thing that
makes sense.
It's just an adverse reaction. It's like, I don't know why you would put that in.
There's no reason. You put like a tiny bit to make it spicy. That makes sense. But you don't.
And it looks so deceptively like guacamole or anything that you would want to put your food in. But if sushi's next to it, you don't mess with that.
Classic comedic situation. My next food is something you may have heard of, a Pokeball.
Okay, no, so it's a Pokeball, and it's what you do is
it is metallic, and you do not bite
You don't eat them. I did have a cake pop version, which was amazing, but
nice.
It's a Pokeball.
Okay, I guess sucks to be Hawaii.
Why? What's going on in Hawaii?
Because they're eating Pokeball. Oh. They're eating poke. Is
that like sushi? Poke, that's like, no, it's like,
so poke it probably came from Japan.
Cold fish, right?
Probably. It's just raw fish. But poke bowl would be all the ingredients. So it's like raw fish on rice and then vegetables, and specifically a sauce, like a poke sauce. But like what I'm eating, let's say the Americanized version, or the mainland, or from New York, the Pokeball that I'm eating is Pokeballs. So it's like, raw fish, a ton, everything that you can think of in a sushi in a bowl. I prefer that over sushi, even though I like sushi. I'm a big fan of sushi. But it's like I nowadays, the last 2 years, prefer poke bowls. I'm a big rice bowl guy. I like rice. Rice is, I mean, again, as a Middle Eastern guy, rice was a big deal in my family. I eat more rice than bread, I would assume. At least throughout my life, like the average Asian. But like, so I prefer a rice bowl over anything else. And a poke bowl is technically a rice bowl.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of thing I tend to really like. I wouldn't not enjoy that. The only thing is that like the only raw fish that I typically like to eat like cold is salmon.
Yeah, it's usually salmon or tuna.
Yeah, I suppose it is.
So
I would probably enjoy them.
Like
I think I've probably eaten them at some point or another.
Oh, so wait, what's your opinion on sushi in general?
I like sushi. Sushi's great. Sushi's fine.
So it tastes like sushi. It's literally sushi.
I think my only issue with sushi is obviously right now because I don't know if I mentioned I'm on this keto diet. I can't eat the rice, so I can only eat the. So at this point, it's just salmon on its own, and there's never enough. So I unfortunately can't enjoy it right now. But yeah,
it sucks not eating rice. Sucks for you. Why can't you eat rice?
Because it's carbohydrates.
Because you're on this diet. What's this diet called?
I'm not on a diet. Why would you think that? That's weird. I can eat I eat this cauliflower rice, which is just rice, but it's actually cauliflower that has been chopped up to look like rice, and that is a thing I can do.
Does it fool you? Can you eat quinoa?
I don't think so. No.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But you just can eat a big steak.
I eat a lot of meat at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I probably said this on the podcast like months ago, but like I really did get a cramp like that lasted like 2 months from all the meat I was eating in England. I was just not used to eating meat every single meal.
Yeah. No, you did say that. And that obviously very surprising, to me, but like makes sense, I guess.
Thank God it went away. I thought it was the last.
You in your family, the way you've spoken about food in the past, like you have a really diverse load of foods, and like obviously you've got do you make a lot of your own food? Do your parents make your food? Like,
mostly my dad loves to make food, so yeah, I eat mostly a lot of meals with my dad, at least dinners. But yeah, I mean, breakfast and lunch is
I'm responsible for everything that goes in my mouth, pretty much. No one else. Like occasionally, my brother will say, "Hey, we're doing something over at the house. Like, come on over. I'll make something." But typically, I'm responsible for every meal I'm eating. So, and you get lazy day by day. So there's only a limited kind of pool of things that I end up eating, which is a bit of a shame. Like, I would love to. If I ever get to come and stay and hang out with you, probably one of the things I'm most excited about are all the different foods. That you're going to eat.
Yeah. You'll definitely have a meal with my dad. Yeah, my dad loves to make food, so he'll make a variety of food, and because of that, I'm used to eating a variety of food. But even then, like, even if, like, yeah, it's New York. There's every single cuisine you can think of. But that's also, London is like that too, so I don't know. Obviously, you live in like a relatively small town, so it's like, it's not a lot of different kinds of cuisines.
It's really, your typical takeouts are Chinese food, Indian food. There is actually a Mexican place finally here, which is amazing. I love it so much. There is a Greek place, which I am super excited about because they closed for a while and now they're back open. And the moment again that I'm off keto, that is exactly the kind of thing that I want to jump onto. Like Greek food is, I don't know, it's just because I am aware that I am quarter Greek makes me want to eat more Greek food. It's like, I want to find out more about that through food, which is kind of exciting. But other than that, it's your classic burgers, chips, whatever, or fries as you call them. I don't know what this is.
No, we say French fries. What's crazy is that I really do think that food is the number one way to learn about a culture.
Makes sense.
Or to at least empathize with it and just love it more. Because, I mean, yeah. People have been saying this for
someone put in chat something I just think you might find interesting. I'm a dietitian, nice. And there are RDs who, I don't know what that is, I guess dietitians, who specifically specialize in individuals with severe sensory and texture issues with food because it's common to have gaps in nutrition when diet is restrictive. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Registered dietitian.
I hope you do talk to a dietitian if you're doing some kind of crazy diet like keto.
Is it a common thing to chat to a dietitian? I don't really know any dietitians. Yeah.
So, if you had healthcare, at least in America, you could talk to a dietitian.
Okay. No, I mean, my resources have mostly been the internet, online communities, videos of people who seem to know what they're talking about, but who knows? All I can say is I'm having massive success at the moment, and I went to give blood the other day, and they were pretty happy with my blood.
For free?
Huh?
For free you gave the blood?
Do you think I should be charging?
Yeah.
Oh.
Capitalism.
No, well, it breeds innovation, I suppose, so... Super blood.
Good for the economy.
Blood. My blood is because I haven't had a specific...
I don't know anything about
because
my
blood. I haven't had a specific... I've got the... well, I know a lot about your blood because of the... But my blood, I'm a rhesus negative, which is like it's the universal type. It means anyone can take it, basically.
Oh, wow.
Anyone can have my blood and be good with it.
Nice.
But also...
For free?
No,
Still?
I'm going to charge specific people, but...
there you go.
But because I've not had a specific virus, I learnt this last one was my 19th donation ever, and I learnt that for the first time that they give my blood to babies because I haven't had a specific virus, and like when they take your blood, they test it to like see if you've had this virus or if it's ever been present in your body at any time, and because I haven't had it,
a specific
it's like a really
virus
specific disease. And they just check to see if you had it, and apparently I haven't had it, so my blood is like good for newborns to have if they need it.
Baby blood.
Yeah, so they're all getting super powered by my super blood.
All of a sudden they all love
They're
Pokemon.
all like, you're wondering where all these Pokemon... I'm making my own viewers. It's part of the plan.
Speaking of blood, what's your second favorite food?
Well, let me just clean my fangs.
By the way, I'm not going in order. These aren't like my favorite foods. Like Musik and Pokeball is not my favorite.
That's cool. I mean, when I went to Amsterdam, there was this... I guess I'm going to talk about it because it's more exciting than like the everyday foods, and I really don't have like favorite foods. There are things like ice cream and custard. I love these things, but like they used to have... Oh, no, they used to have in Amsterdam, and I don't understand why we don't have it in London. They have these things called, I think they're called like philos, and they're like a sort of No, so you walk in, or Phoebo or Philo, I don't know what they're like, but they're like these like fast food places where you walk in, and the wall is basically a giant heated. It's a bunch of heated boxes. And inside each, the chefs, they'll come along and they put like little burgers and they put croquettes and they put these things into the heated sort of boxes. And then you come in and you pay $1 and the little door opens and you take out your burger. And it's such a wonderful fast food idea. It's like a vending machine. It's effectively like a vending machine, but for like hot food. And they do croquettes. And we don't really have, you can get them, but like it's not like a common part of British culture to eat croquettes, like breaded.
I'm looking at pictures of them right now. These vending machine restaurants.
Yeah, and you just walk in and... Phoebo, thank you. Yeah, right, that makes sense, because I went with Phoebe and I took a picture of her under the Phoebo sign with like half of this croquette in her mouth. She's very dainty and delicate about it. It was wonderful. That is to say, it was everywhere. But these croquettes were amazing.
I'm looking at the croquettes specifically.
They were amazing. Deep fried... And then just like any combination of stuff in there, like potato and onion or sausage or whatever. And I thought they were brilliant. I thought they were the best thing. I don't understand why we don't have... I don't understand how that hasn't rooted itself in other... Or certainly not in London. Like, that is not something I see commonly.
Xenophobia.
For Amsterdam? I mean, I don't know. I don't know who's... chairman of the xenophobia well, I guess Nigel Farage, but I suppose I don't know.
Dude, you're really quick. How do you do that? How do you come up with those things?
I'm always thinking about Nigel and that clip.
No, that's any unique, gimmicky that isn't expensive kind of.
Do you is that a thing, croquettes
well.
in America that you would have? Like, would you have that regularly, or
I assume they are a thing, but that's not a regular thing. No, that's not a American.
would you see that out in
thing.
New York, like something like that?
No, you could probably find it in New York, but no, it is not a common.
That's the case
thing.
with like London too. Like any food, you can find it. It's there. It's just like, is it a popular part of the culture that's been adopted, or is it just like there's that's one street in London or that one street in New York that everyone does that one thing?
It's very popular in Japan.
Oh, really?
A lot of anime have mentioned croquettes, but not at least New York. Maybe the South.
What about you? What about other foods? I'm kind of like there's really not that much on my food list. And we got to generate a Pokemon soon, so to eat.
Oh, it would be awesome if it's a food Pokemon. Baklava.
Yep.
My number one favorite dessert as of like 2 years ago, I'd say. Obviously, I've tried it a billion times like before that, but it's just like after 2 years ago, I think I realized it was my favorite like dessert, like just fresh, hot baklava. Oh my god. And a lot of the food that are here, or at least a lot of the Middle Eastern food that I tried have originated in the Ottoman Empire, and therefore Turkey. So a lot of my favorite foods are just Turkish, randomly.
I can vibe with that for sure.
If you don't know what a baklava is, I guess, is it filo dough?
I think so. I wouldn't know
Let's say
enough.
It's not flaky. Very thin, papery dough layered on top of each other with a layer of some kind of nut, usually pistachio or almond, and drizzled or drenched in syrup.
Beautiful.
Oh my god!
You're saying all the right words right now.
It really is the number one food that makes me react
syrup,
like that. Like the oh my god
bit is what makes it a little bit too sickly for me sometimes. But like, I guess sometimes. You wouldn't. It's not the kind of thing you would sit and eat in large quantities. It really is a.
It really is a thing that
savor it.
One extra bite and you can have like that like I said I mentioned this in one of the podcasts and you said you don't have this, but like this like sugar heartache.
Actually, no, that is a kind of food that would do reflux. That kind of thing. Yeah.
That is the thing that would
probably
do it, where it's like all of a sudden your chest hurts from too much sugar.
But yeah, down.
Right amount. You can go next if you want.
I got nothing else to talk about with you.
I have a lot more, but I will go quickly so we can generate that Pokemon. Now, this is not like one of my favorite foods at all, but it's one that I don't understand why people don't eat more of, which is an Impossible Burger. Okay? Have you tried an Impossible Burger?
What is an Impossible Burger?
Definitely way more common in America than I assume in Europe. So it's getting more common. I think, for example, Burger King has Impossible Burgers. A lot of restaurants have like vegetarian burgers, but specifically Impossible Burger is this vegetable-based ground beef-looking thing, but it's not beef, obviously. And you just make it in a patty shape, put it in a burger with the exact same ingredients and vegetables as a burger, and it tastes exactly like a burger. Obviously, by itself, the patty, if you like take a bite of the patty by itself, it won't taste like a beef patty. But when it's in a burger, objectively, it tastes the exact same thing. And if it tastes, why not? It's healthier and it's more ethical. Why not just eat an Impossible?
Well, I don't know about ethical. Refer to episode 30. What was it? No, yeah, but I don't.
Oh my god!
But I don't know about. I don't know about like specifically like as the brand Impossible, because that's the brand name, right?
Impossible is a brand.
But we definitely have stuff
so
like that.
Beyond Burger.
In
there's
all of the various UK restaurants, and yeah, like we'll sometimes just get the vegetarian option because genuinely, like it's just a better taste. From McDonald's, certainly. Like, we actually really kind of like the veggie burgers from there. I don't know if they're Impossible or if they're Beyond or whatever, but yeah.
Like, a veggie burger is different than, like, a Impossible or Beyond burger, where it's like, veggie burgers are usually, like, you can see the veggies and it's, like, explicitly a veggie burger. Mean. While Impossible burgers are trying to mask the fact that it is not.
Yeah.
You know? But, since I only eat, like, kosher meat, I almost always eat the vegetarian option, regardless in any fast food place. I don't eat fast food in general, but when I do eat fast food, at least let's say from Burger King, it's either the fish or Impossible Burger. Because like literally, like so a few days ago, my dad got like free Impossible Burger from an app or whatever. So he's like, "Let me go get it." They messed up the order, okay? And because of that, they actually gave him 2 free ones. He gave me one, and so I had an Impossible Burger. I bite into it. I eat almost all of it. Let's say 75% of the way through. My dad's like, Ron, have you noticed something weird? I'm like, what? He's like, these are just normal meat, beef. They by mistake give us beef.
Oh.
And
you didn't notice.
I'm like, and I didn't notice. And I'm like, but so then I realized, okay, if beef tastes exactly like the Impossible Burger, why would I ever try beef?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So now I will never actually order a beef patty from Burger King because it apparently tastes exactly like an Impossible Burger.
There you go. That makes sense.
And honestly, they should have. That was dangerous. Like, what if someone is allergic?
Yeah,
to beef?
I mean that's obviously very reckless of them. But I'm glad it.
But it was free.
For you, it was
but it was because it
revelatory.
was free. I think. Yeah, it was an experience. I'll go quickly. Burekas. Okay, or burek. Again, it's one of those Middle Eastern things where every different country has a different name. I assume it originated in Turkey, just like almost every Middle Eastern food. That is probably closest to like phyllo dough, but again, it's not phyllo dough. It's more like flaky dough. So if you look up burekas, it's basically look up burekas.
Okay, I'll look that up right now.
But it would be spelled burek, so Borek. But for example, Jewish. Like Middle Eastern Jewish bureks are called burekas, which is, it's stuffed usually with
spinach, feta. That looks good.
Either cheese, potato, sometimes beef. It's usually like not vegetarian stuff, so usually like potato and stuff like that.
That looks really good.
Cheese is the best. It's
I
like
can imagine
dough.
that with cheese
Do you know what's a thing that you would eat that has flaky dough? So I can describe what flaky dough is.
Thing I would eat with flaky dough. No, there's not a lot I would eat, but I know. I know what you mean, and I'm looking at it, and I get exactly what you're talking about. But there's not a lot I would eat with.
It's very close to in Greek. They would have in Greece is spanakopita.
Right.
So I assume that makes sense. Then it would come from Turkey, perhaps. But yeah, flaky dough stuffed with cheese or potato or beef or anything. That is probably the number one like comfort food. I probably enjoy it more than sambusek, but it's less healthy.
So you said the word comfort food. I wonder, is there like a memory associated with this food?
Yeah. So in any kind of like Jewish like event, usually like not a religious event. It's not like a religious food or anything. But yeah, Middle Eastern Jews eat it all the time. Usually in like when it's like a fancy event. So it's like usually breakfast. It's not like a dinner food or anything. It's like a brunch. I love brunch. So like any brunch that I had as a kid was like a core memory for me. So like, and usually that would be at a brunch. It was actually at my bar mitzvah.
Brunch that has a kid.
No, any brunch that I was a kid.
Oh, okay, right.
Any brunch when I was a kid.
Different, like, that's like a... the vampires are back.
Oh, you brought a kid now. This is going to be a good brunch. It's not phyllo though. It's not phyllo though. It is
the
flaky.
idea of like a flaky dough with like the little like the sesame seeds on top, feta cheese.
It's a puff pastry.
Yeah, that looks amazing. Keep saying these words to me.
So next everybody knows, and this is the number one comfort food. When I go to the diner, I order this grilled cheese with home fries and coleslaw. Do you know what home fries are?
No. What determines the fries being from home?
It's almost like baked beans, but it's like you boil not baked beans, baked potatoes. Home fries are baked beans. Baked potato. You boil a potato, you dice it, you put it with let's say salt and garlic or whatever, but onions and maybe pepper, and then you fry it on the skillet. Good. Usually with eggs or breakfast. Grilled cheese with home fries and coleslaw.
Almost. No, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
They're nice.
Exactly.
They look good.
So that's if I would go to to a diner, that's 80% of the time. That's what I get.
I wouldn't think to. Yeah, I don't know that this would be my preference, but I like.
What do you like with grilled cheese? Do you like
grilled cheese? No.
I guess it technically is relatively American.
I like a club sandwich, like a whole sequence of sandwiches that are with different, it's like a super sandwich. But a club sandwich with fries is like...
Yeah. Yeah, but that's more like if I was to say, that's like completely different. That's like I would be like, oh yeah, I love Subways. I mean, I love a sub sandwich. I love sandwich, any sandwich stuffed with things and then fries, like you said.
But like a club sandwich where you've got the toasted layers of bread, but then they're not even like, it's not like they're burnt toasted, they're just lightly toasted.
Let me look specifically at a club sandwich. Okay, so club sandwich is huge because it's multiple layers, right? But it tastes the same as a one layer of that. And whatever is in that one layer.
Well, yes, but like also you're toasting, the bread is usually toasted and like, I like that kind of thing.
I love club sandwich, but I don't think the size is what I love about it. I just like the ingredients of a club sandwich.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like, I don't need it to be double layered. I don't think I've ever eaten something that is double layered.
I totally have another thing. Fajitas. I love making fajitas.
Love fajitas. So fajitas is on my list technically, but we'll talk about that.
I just love making them. We had me, my husband Dan, and Jake. We used to meet up every Thursday after school, and we would have Geek Thursday, and we would play games, play some Yu-Gi-Oh, watch some shows, watch some Red vs. Blue, whatever. And his mum would always just do for us fajitas, and so it would be like, chicken, pepper, tomato. You know how fajitas work. You got the fajita seasoning, and it was never like, it wasn't like homemade fajita. It was more like, this is the seasoning. There's a specific brand out here that everyone sort of goes for, and then of course the wraps. But then what I really liked over the years was getting as creative as I could with that. So we've done like shrimp fajitas, which are amazing.
Yeah.
Or we've done vegetarian ones. I've tried it with beef as well, and like, yeah, I really like fajitas. Go on. What, you slapped your head when I said not homemade, the store-bought stuff.
Dude, it has nothing to do with what you said. But I was definitely listening because I agree with everything you said because I love fajitas. But dude, we made a giant mistake, but it could be corrected. We were not supposed to talk about food and characters today. That was next week's episode.
What are we talking about today? Oh, you're just talking about DLC.
DLC, and then another thing that I think we will do instead of food next time. So we don't have to talk about characters today.
Oh, you're right. Right, we're doing something else today. Well, look, we've spent a really long time on food, and I think we should get to generate. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about in the food related, I think
very quick because the rest and I just will be like.
But why don't we do the generate Pokemon? And we'll talk more about the DLC stuff, and then we can move the other thing to the beginning of.
I thought we already talked about DLC.
We'll move
that last thing. Yeah, we're going to move that
to open up. Yeah. And then that actually works better.
The surprise thing. And it actually works better. It does work.
Yeah,
with the
so
characters.
let's move, do whatever food thing you want to do next, and then hopefully we'll generate a Pokemon we can eat.
You said this was like, genuinely. Because you were genuine. I don't know why. Of course you were genuine.
What's happening? What are you saying?
I don't know what's happening. I just like the way sometimes I like the way people say something, but but you can't explain why they said that thing. It's just, and I try to explain why it sounded cool.
Run, hit the restart button on yourself. You're going to be okay. Come back online.
The next thing is brick oven pizza. Love me some brick oven pizza.
Yeah.
There's a place under the Brooklyn Bridge called Grimaldi's, and it's also not like there's another place not under the bridge. But whenever there's a place, whenever my family's like, let's do something special, we'll sometimes go to the brick oven pizza under the bridge. It's exactly where it's Dumbo is where Nacreen City is based on in Pokemon Black and White, and this literal location right under the bridge is exactly, when you're about to go onto the Sky Arrow Bridge, there's this like view of the Castelia. Like before you enter, there's like this like a boardwalk almost with a bench. That's based. It's probably the most closest looking to its origin and what it's inspired by. But it's literally that location under the bridge, which is like this kind of like view. I will take it. Like if you come to New York, I will take you to that location. It's at night. It's the perfect view of the Manhattan skyline. Beautiful. So and that restaurant's right there, and it's good memories there. Then mac and cheese. Everybody likes mac and cheese. You like mac and cheese, right?
Yeah.
So then that's That's also the number one comfort food. I will never
I
pass on
love
macaroni
it.
and cheese.
I like it enough.
Yeah, seems like it.
Yeah, I'm not like stoked about
What's
it.
your macaroni and cheese?
What's my...
Because everybody has their macaroni and cheese. Like, what's the thing that you just won't pass on? Just cheese and cheese.
The macaroni is where I'm not so hot on it. So
are you a pasta guy?
Pasta, yeah. So I tried.
I
tried last night
guy.
making this keto pasta just for fun, and it was horrible. It was like cardboard. I like got rid of it. I ended up eating because I was gonna sprinkle it with like I chopped up some bacon and then put pasta sauce on the bacon, and then was gonna mix that in with the keto pasta because it was so horrible and I threw it away. I just ended up eating a bowl of pasta sauce and bacon bits, and it was rubbish. Yeah, it was horrible, but I didn't have time to make anything else.
And
it
you're
was
on a
really
diet.
sad. The whole thing was sad.
Sauce and bacon.
Yeah.
Keto's weird, but it makes sense. Quickly, so the number one food that I would make myself that is easy, that's like also like it's frozen food technically, is udon and spring rolls. So like there's this like udon from Costco with spring rolls from like Trader Joe's that just put in the oven, put it cook the udon quickly on the stove. Beautiful. It's just banging Asian food right in my mouth when I'm watching anime at night after some
So how do you spell udon? Because I typed ODON and it's like a
UDON. It's like thick Japanese noodles. You have like soba noodles.
Yeah. No, I'm on board. That stuff's amazing.
Udon's great.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm totally on board.
I think udon is my favorite of the three Japanese
this all looks
noodles.
so good.
Except not in the soup. Like ramen with udon noodles. I prefer just ramen noodles. But yeah. Although yakisoba, so like yakisoba, another Japanese noodle dish. So it's just soba noodles. I do love. That is also another thing that I make. If I don't have udon, I will have yakisoba with spring rolls. Regardless, noodles with spring rolls, that's like my default dinner if I don't have time to make other things. Last two things. One is quick acai bowl. Do you try acai bowls? Have you tried acai bowls? Do you know what it is?
I've heard the name.
Why am I like questioning you like very quickly as if like you've done something wrong?
Oh, what like? Ooh, that looks good. No, I've not eaten anything like this, or if I have, it's not in a long, long time. That looks amazing.
Acai bowls are this like quote unquote superfruit bowl, basically. It's like acai is a berry, right? You crush it, you mash it, freeze it. It's basically imagine like a smoothie, like a thicker smoothie with
like a yogurt, right? Like
whatever,
like a thick yogurt.
It isn't. It isn't a yogurt though. It really is just like it's just a berry. It's a blended berry.
Oh my goodness.
It really is a smoothie. It does
that
taste like a smoothie.
Really good.
If you have a berry smoothie, it tastes like it. Berries with fruits on top, maybe coconut, honey, strawberries, blueberries. So whenever I want to, it is my splurge food. Whenever I'm like not down in the dumps, it's the opposite. Whenever I deserve to treat myself, I will go get an acai bowl. Sucks that I don't usually do that during the winter because it's a cold smoothie dish kind of, and I don't want to eat that during the winter.
In summer, this looks like amazing.
Ron's a good boy.
Yeah, this looks really good.
The first time I had like an acai bowl from this place near me, or relatively near me, it was like 80 degrees outside.
I have not. I don't think.
Very hot.
I think this is safe to say this is a food I've never eaten, which would be amazing.
So this I recommend, and that's why I'm bringing them up because I really do want everybody to eat these things because I mean it's not an offensive thing. If you like fruit smoothies, you'll like this, and if you like bowls of fruit,
this looks amazing.
This
looks like something I would love. Yeah. Okay, so what was the last food?
The last thing, it was the last of the foods that you definitely don't know because it is a traditional Jewish food, which is this is a European Jew food, but all Jews eat it too and have their own. They adopted it, which is basically so Jews during the Sabbath on Saturday, Orthodox Jews do not use electricity. Okay, so in order to cook themselves nice Sunday lunches, they made cholent or chamin, which is basically you put beans, other vegetables, and usually barley or some kind of grain, usually potatoes and meat as well. All the hearty winter foods that you want to put in a bowl, you put that inside of a crock pot or a hot pot or what's it called, a slow cooker. Put that in a slow cooker. You turn it on before the Sabbath, before Shabbat. You turn it on. That way you aren't touching electricity on Shabbat.
I see.
and then you let it slow cook overnight, and then you have lunch for Saturday. Without
it doesn't. I won't lie.
you know,
I mean, I'm looking at it. It doesn't look very appealing.
It's a bowl of beans, meat, and grains, and it's hot. But it's
interesting.
I'm trying to think. Cholent.
I
it's
bet
like
it tastes
the winter
nice.
food of
I bet
Jews.
it tastes really nice. But it just visually
It's a
isn't.
stew. I mean, technically, it's like a stew, right?
It's
visually,
nothing like an
it's
acai bowl.
It's brown. It's the opposite
what
of
I mean?
that. It's brown. But that's because it's beans and meat and potatoes and barley. Of course, it's going to be brown. And also, usually put an egg in there, and the egg becomes nice and boiled. But yeah, it's like when after, like, let's say a winter snowstorm. Let's say you're shoveling snow on a Saturday morning for some reason, and then you come inside and you eat a bowl of this. God damn, you feel like a king because you feel like it's the most nutritious food ever. I mean, think of it: grains, fiber, protein. It's like a superfood almost. It's like my super dish, and that is, I think, it's a thing that you won't be able to. It's not like you're going to be able to find this. It's not like a samosa or a sambusak. You're not going to be able to find this anywhere in London. You have to actually go to a Jewish family on a Saturday, and perhaps, luckily, they will have made that. Perhaps we'll make it for you.
I think I'd give it a go. Like, don't get me wrong, I really, really would.
You would be able to still eat the individual parts. If you don't like it together, you'd be able to eat the meat by itself or the beans by itself, or
really just
it's
don't
very
have.
delicious.
This is genuinely has been one of my favorite parts about this podcast. Has been learning about the kind of various Jewish dishes and the things that you eat, because it just sounds so vibrant and like so many options, and while those things are obviously true, I guess anywhere, I don't feel I don't feel like I don't feel like there were guidelines to our life that dictated our food in such a way that you guys have, and changed the relationship to food. And I'm just so fascinated by all these dishes. They sound amazing. They sound genuinely amazing.
Glad to hear, Toby. I guess, yeah, definitely it's less. Jewish food is probably the least diverse because of all the restrictions. But it makes sense for like a British person to be like,
restrictions breed creativity.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. Like that's why I love this whole Cholent story, because like it came out of the whole thing where Jews can't, use electricity or fire on the Sabbath. So it's
I think that's brilliant. Yeah. Would you do me the honor of generate a Pokemon that I might want to eat? A Scrumdiddly-umptious Pokemon.
Okay, here's what's funny. This is a Pokemon that for my entire life I thought looked delicious, but is very much not a food that you would eat. I mean, it's not a food, but it's not an animal that you would want to eat.
I'll be the judge of that.
Dustox. I always thought it looked like a watermelon.
Oh, I see that.
Or like a fruit.
Yeah, I totally see that. It looks like a bit of like pineapple almost in the middle, right?
It looks like a fruit, like a generic candy fruit. I don't know what fruit. It's not really a watermelon because it's green.
No, I see what you mean. It's got that kind of like, if I had a bag of sweets, it would be Dustox coloured. It would have all of the various bits. It's got the little jelly bean legs, and then like, I feel like now you've said it in association with food, and I'm looking at a picture of Dustox, it's triggering a memory of so for Bug's Life, for when the movie came out, there were these ice pops, and the ice pops were like layered, like red, yellow, green, whatever. You've probably seen that kind of thing. But inside the ice pops, there were little jelly bugs, and like the combination of cold, but then like an ice pop, but then with jelly sweets inside, really worked for me. And I'm just now like retroactively very nostalgic. But you've just taken me back to my garden in my childhood, whatever year Bug's Life came out, because like. And I see that looking at Dustox. I'll never look at Dustox the same way again.
I literally, since I saw it at age like 6 and 7, like that's the first thing I thought. I like, this looks like candy or like a fruit. So I'm glad we
just changed Dustox for me, because I have always thought of Dustox as just unappealing, and I think as by association with Beautifly, why would I ever want Dustox? Beautifly is the same Pokemon but way cooler. You have just changed this Pokemon for me. Like, literally like that. That's wild.
That's crazy, because it was not the opposite, because I think Beautifly is more beautiful, but whenever I wanted the actual Pokemon that I wanted in my team, I might
use a Dustox now.
I guess Poison it just looked more like poison and like just more dangerous, I guess. So I thought, it's probably stronger, but it isn't. Although what's funny is that, but I had a Beautifly like in my first playthrough ever. So I think I was disappointed, but then I grew to love it.
The little jelly bean legs. It is a beautiful butterfly. I think. Oh, go on. No, you go first.
It'll be a tangent.
So will mine.
But it's related.
So that's really awkward.
Which tangent is stronger?
Mine was going to lead on to DLC talk, so you do yours.
Mine is going to lead to introspective about the universe and...
Oh, that sounds way cooler. Let's do that.
So basically, because of like Pokemon like Dustox, like literally since I was 7, I do like describe Pokemon sometimes as delicious. Okay. Like I like like a lot of Pokemon will have like a color scheme that I think that is a very appetizing color scheme. If it was like as a candy or like a fruit drink or whatever. Like for example, anything that's aqua. Like an aqua green is delicious to me. Like it could be like a lot of people, at least in America, know what's the one from Taco Bell? They have. Anybody know what the drink from Taco Bell is that is aqua green? What is it called?
No one knows.
Now we wait
live on chat.
Baja Blast. See, this is why we do it. This is why we do it.
We did it all for this reason.
Baja Blast. So, for example, anything that is colored like a Baja Blast, I'm like, that is delicious, even if it's a fictional creature. So, but sometimes I describe Pokemon as delicious in my videos, and people are weirded out. And then, especially, so for example, I had my 4 artists video where other people designed Pokemon with me, right? And one time a Pokemon, one of the artists made like a humanoid, almost like furry kind of Pokemon, and I called it delicious, not because I thought it was attractive, but because it had a color scheme that I thought was delicious. And then there were a few comments in the chat were like, this is disgusting. Ron is just drooling over these Pokemon. Why did, like, this is a very, like, misogynist. Like, because also I think it was like a feminine Pokemon.
Oh, I see.
Like, look at the way they talk. This Ron is just like fulfilling some
But you're like, no, I want to eat the Pokemon.
Eat it.
I see. Yeah.
And it really is. I hate how people don't give the benefit of the doubt to content creators. Anytime a person makes an assumption on a content creator based on a video or a post, they have to be right. And like there is no alternative thing that the creator was thinking. And it really ruins life for you.
It doesn't ruin life for me. It
ruins life for me.
It just doesn't bother me at all. No, I know what you mean though. No, and it does bother me. That's a lie. I'm being facetious. I'm but like, yeah, like people would the idea that people would listen to say this podcast and take something I've said, maybe a joke, maybe misunderstood it, or maybe I misunderstood describing the word delicious or something, and then go, I can't believe Toby thinks like that, and like it's way off base to what I was talking about. That would that's frustrating, but it's unavoidable.
When it's way off base, I'm usually the opposite. I'm like, you're just like, it's hilarious how wrong you are. But I hate it when it's like they just spiral, where it spirals out of control, and this person could just like now ruin your reputation, or feels like that person could ruin your reputation based on
assumption of the thing that you said. I think most people on the internet are wise enough to. Wait, what am I saying? What am I saying? We're all idiots. Oh my goodness. Well, I will stand with you, Ron.
What was your tangent?
Pokemon are delicious. I was going to tangent. I'll be honest. It wasn't even like an interesting take or anything. It was more like I was going to talk about the Dustox on Clara's headpin in the DLC last time, so that we could get to the DLC. I didn't actually have a comment.
Well, that's why I don't like speculating. That's why I hate speculating about stuff, because like 80% of the time you're wrong, 90% of the time you're wrong, and it's like.
But that's why we do it for the 10%, for the 10% of the time.
I don't think I've ever been correct, and when it was correct, it was something that was obvious.
That's because you say dumb things.
And if it's obvious, then why are we talking about it?
I don't know. Well, I mean, yeah, I like the world speculation. I think it's fun.
We technically already did. I don't know why we was with you in thinking that we didn't talk about the DLC enough. We talked about the DLC.
Okay, well then let's not talk about the DLC. We
didn't talk about the Academy stuff. Like, for example, that is also like I'm a big fan of the school setting, and I'm always excited for more like a new school setting with new characters, and because I always want to see some kind of anime dynamic. some things, some kind of. I love tropes, I don't love character tropes, honestly. Not. I like character tropes. I don't like characters that are entirely a trope, unless they subvert it. But because I like 3-dimensional characters that actually are based on a trope, but actually, you are revealed that they are way more deep and realistic, and we barely get that in Pokemon. I guess we got that with Arven. Like Arven, we all thought he was going to be the third rival that cares about.
Yeah, they definitely
nothing.
They're definitely getting better. I think they're getting better with their character work and that kind of thing.
So hopefully, the 4 or technically 6 new characters that we see in the DLC, at least revealed so far, are cool. I like the designs a lot.
Yeah, they all look cool. I got nothing bad to say about any of them.
Did you like the art of the at least specifically the school, the second DLC? That's big art.
That's the metal one, right? With the 8 on the gate. Is that right? The DLC, the school, isn't it like a big?
That's not the art that I'm talking about.
Which art are you talking about?
I'm talking about the art of the protagonists with their starter Pokemon versus these four new rival
yeah, they look cool. The 4
in the stadium.
I get Elite 4 vibes. I'm like, oh, these are going to be some top-notch trainers. Yeah, I like it.
It's just, I don't know, for some reason that was one of my favorite pieces of art in all of Pokemon.
They do
very well.
They dropped some really nice artwork. I remember they did some really nice artwork for Team Rainbow Rocket when that came out.
True.
Yeah, they got some good artists working over there. No, I'm looking forward to it. This was the food one.
I liked the one where Toby and Ron talked about food for a long time.
Are you all still feeling calm? Did you have a good time? Did you have a nice time? If you didn't, go eat one of the many foods we've spoken about today.
Maybe bring some of that food to the next episode where we will talk about anime characters, TV characters, anime terms, and, of course, the resident generated Pokemon segment, where we will possibly generate...
For health and safety reasons, I must clarify that the food that you bring to the next podcast, please don't have it be the same food from this week's podcast, as food has an expiration date, and it might be a little bit off a week later.
Not honey, though. Honey safe.
From the DLC?
No, there's no expiration date for honey. Honey can last forever. You are aware of that, right?
Oh, are we ending the podcast? I don't know. Oh.
It's done. But
no, I didn't know that actually. I didn't know that about honey. That's cool. You can last forever?
Yeah. Virtually.